Hello, I'm not Natasha Kaplinsky, but we promise you here at RBG News that for every extra 100,000 viewers we get, I will undo another button of my shirt. Yes, that's right. The more viewers we get, the more silky man-flesh you get to see.
Don't worry, viewers. That's not going to happen.
Ah! Ah, you got my skin! You got my skin! I'm Mangrove Badger Hunt, and it's 6 o'clock. Good evening, and here are the headlines. The increasing desperation of UK retailers results in death. British livelihoods are threatened as a new virulent disease arrives on our shores. Plastic bags disappear from British shops. More abrasiveness from French Premier Nicolas Sarkozy. Plus the weather and the latest sports headlines. Oh, don't look at me like that. We've all been thinking it. In late breaking news, we've just learned that Railtrack, in an attempt to get away from its disastrous rail service record, has now taken over control of scrolling news captions. Prime Minister Gordon Brown announced a cabinet reshuffle today after complaints that his government lacked scientific credibility. Coming in as the new Minister of Science is Catweasel, who, when asked about the job, took one look at the interviewer's microphone, shouted "Witchcraft!" and threw himself into a pond. The increasing power of the supermarkets has led to outbreaks of violence amongst neighbourhood vendors. Last month, the fight over ice cream van territories in Cricklewood saw this man stabbed in the shoulder with a cornetto. Police say that had it been a king cone, they'd have been investigating a murder charge. And so, perhaps inevitably, yesterday the first death in these so-called vendor wars was reported. Over to Brian McBride with the story.
Thank you. Yes, it was here in Lindley Lane yesterday that local businessman Ernie Haversack was brutally killed by a baker rival, both of them competing for a share of the ever-decreasing door-to-door market. Now, Mr. Blinking, you saw what happened?
Yes, that's right. It all happened outside number 22.
Now, I believe the row started over Ernie's loitering on what Baker Ted regarded as his pitch.
Yes, that's right. I saw Ted go by at lunchtime, and Ernie was already here doing his rounds. Then Ted came past again at 4:30, and Ernie was still here. Ted was so annoyed, he went over and kicked his horse. His name was Trigger, by the way.
And that led to the killing?
Oh yes, then they started bunging things at each other. The crust of a stale pork pie hit him in the eye, and Ernie bit the dust.
And we understand this is a tragic loss for the neighbourhood.
Well, they used to call Ernie the fastest milkman in the West, but I don't believe it. If he was that fast, he would have got out of the way, like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix.
Well, there you have it. And as the influence of the supermarket spreads ever further, can wholesale slaughter between milkmen and bakers be far behind? And on a spooky end note, we understand that the ghostly rattling of milk bottles has been heard in the area since Ernie's untimely death.
Oh no, that's just where the underground line runs underneath the road. There's nothing mysterious about that at all. Now the UFOs I keep spotting from the end of my garden, now they're mysterious.
Get off. And now, back to the studio.
Brian McBride with that story there. Just weeks after the blue tongue disease threatened the livelihoods of farmers across the UK, it's been announced today that there's been yet another confirmed case of black spot, this time in Plymouth. Here's Brian McBride with the story.
Thank you, Mangrove. The first contemporary case of black spot was reported in a tavern near the docks, claiming the lives of a number of pirates.
Black spot!
That was just over a week ago, but outbreaks have occurred in a number of places since then, and the government doesn't appear to have a coherent action plan. I spoke on the phone to Mr. Catweasel, the Minister for Science. He said, and I quote, "A talking stick, it's witchcraft," and threw himself into a pond. Black spot was last heard of in Spain, where it devastated the pirate community in the 1700s and enabled English superiority of the waves from then on. The last case in this country was reported as occurring in Rains Park, 20 paces north, then 10 to the east, of a rock that looked a bit like a skull. Black spot has already claimed hundreds of pirates' lives across the UK. Symptoms include a black spot on the hand and a fever which causes a shivering of the timbers. With no cure in sight, the government yesterday announced action. Claiming the disease to be airborne, they ordered a cull to be carried out.
Push him out! Push him out! Oh, fuck!
But with the disease still spreading, the cull has been increased to include all green birds considered a nuisance.
Now, don't turn around, Orville.
Oh, you bastard!
However, the opposition claim that the return of black spot is due to the smoking ban, which is enabling the disease to spread unchecked through the taverns that pirates frequent. Until some sort of an agreement is reached, it's clear that the problem can only get worse. And now, back to the studio.
Following a press campaign by the Daily Mail, the government is to ban plastic bags from Britain. Said a spokesman, "A plastic bag loose in the environment is a terribly efficient killer of wild animals." However, if you can't get a plastic bag, then hitting them from behind with a rolling pin is a great alternative. And we're just getting reports that the inquiry into the earlier news caption crash has finished, so it's over to Brian St John Bryan at the Old Bailey with that story.
Thank you. Yes, that's right. The trial into the new strip crash earlier, which claimed the lives of 2 captions, has broken up in disarray. First into the dock was Railtrack boss Sir Kendall Mintcake, who denied all responsibility. Said Mr. Justice Barron, "Are you Sir Kendall Mintcake?" "No, I'm not," said Sir Kendall Mintcake. "Yes, you are," His Honour replied. "We've been in the same clubs for 20 years. "No, we haven't." "I was at your wedding, man," continued Mr. Justice Barron. "No, you weren't." "We even car shared in here this morning." "No, we didn't." This caused some bemusement to Mr. Justice Barron, who went on to reply, "We didn't? Oh, well, in that case I sentence myself to 20 years for slandering your character, whoever you are." At which point the case was dismissed and Mr. Justice Barron was led away to begin his sentence. And now, back to the studio.
Controversial French President Nicolas Sarkozy was out and about in Paris again today, being his usual confrontational self. Our rude president swear counter registered 18, 12, 4, 2, and 1 on a stick and up with a... What's that? The lip readers could still work out what I was saying. Ah, well. And now on to sport. First, a couple of evening football results. Just one game in the Computer Software Premier Division tonight. Tom Clancy's Rainbow 6, Vegas 2. And in the Conference Division, Ditherers United are up against Prevaricator's First 11. That's a late kick-off. A recent proposal put to the FIA, the motor racing governing body, has suggested the reversal of grid positions in an effort to make the sport more exciting. It's believed television bosses like the idea of improving ratings through tampering with the sports they control. Therefore, from next week onwards, Manchester United will have to tie players' right legs together, snooker will incorporate bare-knuckle fistfights, and test match cricket teams will be able to call in an airstrike twice during a game. And now it's over to Jeff Lynn with the weather. Thank you, Jeff. And the weather for those going to Wembley tonight? So there you have it, football fans. Looks like a good one. That's it from me, Mangrove Badger. That's it from me, Mangrove Badger Hunt. There'll be an update at 11. And with me, because unlike some expensive newsreaders, Jabrinsky, I'm not pregnant. Although I am trying. Good night. Tonight's lineup on RBG1 is as follows. After the news, it's I'm a pop singer with a reality group with Mylene Klaas. Then, now I'm a proper classical musician with Mylene Klaas. After that will be It's Proper Astronomy for Me with Mylene Klaas, shortly followed by I'm a swimsuit model in the jungle, get me out of here with Mylene Klaas. And then, taking us up to the close down, first it's I'm the first ever woman to be pregnant ever with Mylene Klaas, and then the piano-playing, bikini-wearing Stargazer show with Sir Patrick Moore. Don't forget that tomorrow lunchtime sees ITV's Loose Women cross over to Red Blue Green 1, including their brand new cookery spot.